Christian heroes, then and now. Ida Scudder, Healing Bodies, Touching Hearts. A book written by Janet and Jeff Bench. Chapter 1. The Devil is Coming. Ida Scudder buttoned a long coat over her white doctor uniform. She then secured a veil over her hat to keep out the dust and headed outside. In front of the small hospital that she oversaw sat the brand new 1909 Peugeot motor car. Shalomi, her assistant, and a female Bible teacher were already seated in the back seat of the vehicle. Around them was packed all the medical equipment they needed to run the roadsides. The outpatient clinics they held in the villages that surrounded Vellore in southern India. Since no space was left inside the car, canvas bags packed with drugs and bandages dangled from either side of the windshield. Ida had to admit that it looked quite a sight as she stepped onto the running board and into the front seat. Hussein, the driver, waved enthusiastically from in front of the car. He bent down and turned the crank. A cloud of oil-gray smoke belched from the exhaust pipe as the single-cylinder engine burst to life and the car vibrated violently. Hussein climbed in behind the wheel, adjusted his goggles, and released the brake, and they were off. Ida said a quick prayer for their safety. She felt she needed to because until a few days ago, Hussein had never even seen a motor car, let alone driven one. He had made a few practice runs around the hospital perimeter and declared himself ready to take Ida to her weekly mobile clinics. "Look out!" Ida yelled as an ox cart stacked high with bags of rice loomed in front of them. Hussein grinned and pulled on the steering wheel, sending the car careening toward a ditch. The bags of bandages bounced against the windshield and Salome screamed from the back seat. School children ran for cover. Hussein let out a whoop and tucked the steering wheel in the other direction. The car swung back the other way, narrowly missing the cart as they passed it. The startled driver pulled his oxen to a halt. Hussein waved cheerfully and put his foot on the accelerator. "Slow down," Ida demanded. Crestfallen, Hussein eased his foot off the gas pedal. Eventually, he managed to negotiate his way through the streets and out into the country toward the first roadside. The car had just rounded a corner when a group of field workers walking along the road turned and saw it. Ida watched as the men dropped their sides and ran off into the fields. "The devil is coming! The devil is coming!" the men screamed. Ida ordered Hussein to stop the car, and she ran into the field after the workers. "We will not harm you," she yelled. "It is us, the same people who come to help you every week. It's a devil. Look how it breathes smoke. An animal-less cart is bad magic," one man yelled over his shoulder as he kept running. Ida gave up the chase. Who could blame the men? This was the first motor car they had ever seen, and Ida supposed it was shocking to them. She hoped in time to prove that the car was no devil. Rather, it would enable her to bring life-changing medical help to many more Indian people. Before the arrival of the car, it had taken her 3 times as long to get out into the country, and the bumpy rides on the lumbering, springless ox carts had left Ida bruised and sore. She wished her father were sitting in the car beside her. He would have loved it. He had always looked for better and more efficient ways to serve the Indian people. Ida smiled and shook her head in astonishment as her thoughts drifted back to her parents and her childhood. She could hardly believe that these medical trips into the Indian countryside were now part of her life. Ida had been born in India, where her father and his father before him had served as a medical missionary. Growing up, Ida had been sure of one thing: she would never follow in her father's footsteps. In fact, she was angry whenever anyone suggested it. Instead, she had wanted to spend the rest of her life in the United States, keeping the horrible images of dying Indians and starving children as far away as possible. But now, here she was, living and working in India as a missionary doctor. As the car bumped along the curvy dirt road, Ida smiled again in amazement. She never could have foreseen the strange set of circumstances God would use to lead her back to India, or the unexpected twists and turns along the way.